Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of the Green Shift podcast. Today, we will go to learn more about an incredible topic. It's about hydrogen production with Dr. Manzer. So, without any further ado, I just want you to learn more about this, and you get too excited to know the difference between hydrogen production and hydrogen storage and what that we as a geologists can do on this. So just let me give you a quick introduction about Dr. Manzer. Dr. Manzer had an applied geology from University of Azad, Kashmir, Pakistan, and he had an MSc from Petroleum Geoscience, Norwegian Technology University in Norway, and he had a PhD from University of Oslo, and he is currently a scientist at Center of Integrated Petroleum Research at CPG or College of Petroleum and Geoscience in King Fahd University. So, yeah, Dr. Mander, just tell us some more about yourself and what you are doing now. So,
Yeah,
details.
actually, when I joined academia in 2006, so I'd been working with carbon dioxide storage. So when I learned about this discovery in Mali, actually the discovery was in 1987, but it became famous afterwards. Um, so then I started to explore various conditions how hydrogen can be generated, and if there is possible, we can exploit uh, that storage. So now we are talking about the natural hydrogen. So there is a difference there. Because we can generate hydrogen on the surface, like what we call blue hydrogen. For example, it is made for example, from natural gas. They, it's called steam reformation. They react. They put high temperature steam on methane, and then it is split into carbon dioxide and hydrogen, and then that blue hydrogen that can be stored underground, and the carbon dioxide that can also be stored underground, so that it is not released in the atmosphere, right? So the difference between blue hydrogen and gray hydrogen is that if we release carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, then it is called gray hydrogen. So that's the difference. So we are now talking about natural hydrogen. There are many natural processes through which hydrogen is formed naturally. So the most significant process is serpentinization. So we have iron-bearing rocks, for example, ophiolites, which contain olivine and pyroxene. So these minerals react with water under high temperature. In the subsurface, for example, 5 kilometer deep, and then hydrogen is formed. So there are many things we don't know about how hydrogen is migrated and how it is accumulated, because so far we have only one discovery in Mali that is significant. Otherwise, there are reports of, for example, hydrogen percentage as high as 90% from Australia, for example, in many wells. And there are many hydrogen seeps all around the world. For example, in Ukraine, in Turkey, there are many seeps in Oman. So it is documented that hydrogen has been generating in the subsurface, and it is seeping out. But still, we need to explore how it is migrated and if there are possibilities of finding economic reserves of that. So that's the main task of our project here.
Okay, so that's really interesting. When you are talking, you feel like you're talking about the petroleum element system, migration, seepage, and reserve and everything. So yeah, if you just can tell us like the similarities and the differences between the hydrogen production system, because as you told us, like it's quite similar, but we just want to hear from you more about this point.
Yeah, that's right. The main difference between hydrogen system and hydrocarbon system is that there are the source rocks are quite different. For hydrocarbon, the source rock are organic shales. So at high temperature and pressure, it takes, for example, million of years to mature a shale or organic shale to generate hydrocarbon. However, in case of hydrogen, it's a reaction of water with ultramafic or mafic rocks, and it doesn't take lots of it doesn't take a million of years. It takes only days to generate hydrogen. So that's the one thing, and also the hydrogen generation is a continuous process. So the good thing is that if we find a small reservoir, for example, or a small accumulation, there is possibility that once we deplete that, it will be charged within one generation. So this is the difference. But hydrogen, since hydrogen is the smallest atom compared to the hydrocarbon, so there is some skepticism about its migration. For example, there are possibilities that it just can diffuse through a cap rock and just escape in the atmosphere. So, but the other thing is that while we had been, I mean, there are many wells which had been drilled in the basins for oil and gas, but people were not looking for hydrogen actually, and so there are possibilities as is that they just ignored if there are some hydrogen peaks when they get that while drilling a well. Another thing is that the traditional chromatograph in the oil industry, what we use, it doesn't read hydrogen because it uses hydrogen as a carrier gas. So if we get, for example, a total gas peak, we don't know if there is hydrogen or some other hydrocarbon gas. So
Okay. Yeah.
the other thing I'll add that there are also possibilities that not all oil and gas basins they have suitable source rock for hydrogen, which are ophiolitic rocks or ultramafic rocks in the basement. But the other thing is that there is one more process which is related to granitic rocks. As there are some radioactive minerals in the granitic rocks, so there are possibilities that these radioactive radiations, for example, alpha, beta, gamma ray, they sometimes split the water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen. So there is a possibility that hydrogen can be generated through this process, and if this in an area there is this process is active, we also expect to find helium there. So that's another important process actually.
Okay, so that's really interesting. While you were just talking, I was thinking about if we as a human can facilitate this process. If we can make this process, like, it need to be under subsurface, like it cannot be, for example, bringing or go into some outcrops, or I don't know, like trying to make that system work on the earth, like or it just should be naturally, and it should be as like an oil, like it cannot be done with a human.
There are a few people who are working on stimulation of this source rock for hydrogen. For example, there are many outcrops of ophiolites in Oman, for example, and people are planning to drill some wells there and put high temperature water or steam in that, so that it is artificially simulated, and they will try to generate gas or hydrogen from there. So this process is also possible, but still it's in infancy. I mean, so far nobody tried it yet.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's really incredible. So just hydrogen can be only in ophiolite or an ultramafic basic rock, or in granitoid as well. So yeah, I mean, like this, like it's a huge amount of rock all over the surface. So I guess that's really a great thing to look for and try to develop research around it. So you can tell me if anything you would love to highlight with the upcoming generation of geologists or petroleum engineer, how they should look into this area, and how they should consider it as a career path, or yeah, I would love to hear from you about this.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, as I mentioned before, the hydrogen system is quite similar to the hydrocarbon system. So if someone has um, um, it's a training of exploring hydrocarbon, so it's very easy for them to switch over to hydrogen exploration, because the only thing is the difference between the source rock and the, the reservoir rock should be the same as what we get in case of hydrocarbon, and we think the cap rocks should also be the same. So there could be slight differences. For example, what we learned from their some artificial storage of hydrogen, for example, in Europe, there are some there are some gas storage there. So actually, it's not 100% hydrogen what they store. It's a combination of hydrogen, uh, some methane, and some carbon dioxide. So what they noticed there, that there is some bacterial reaction in the subsurface. So since these storages are not very deep, so it's possible for bacteria to penetrate at that depth and start consuming hydrogen. So that could make, for example, methane or some other products. And also there are possibilities of hydrogen reacting with sulfur. For example, if there is a gypsum cap rock, that is very excellent. That is excellent cap rock for hydrocarbon, but it contains sulfur. So there are possibilities that hydrogen reacts with sulfur to make hydrogen sulfide. So there could be some differences from hydrocarbon, but um, the process is very similar.
Okay.
Uh, I need to add one thing. in case of Mali discovery, we have a cap rock which is igneous. So there are many seals which we call dolerite seals. So these are also acting as a cap rock for hydrogen accumulation. So uh, we need to consider this type of environment also for for hydrogen exploration.
Yeah, so just that's really interesting. So just let me get back into the Mali case study or Mali exploration. I think so. The source rock was ophiolite or serpentine. And what is the reservoir type? And you mentioned already the Cap Rock was a dolerite. So what is the reservoir? Like,
Yeah. Um, I should correct about the source rock because still we don't know what's the source rock in Mali. Because in deeper levels we have some green stones. These are also very old ultramafic rocks. So these could be the possible source rocks from there. But still, from drilling, we didn't find the actual source rock. So it is considered that from deeper levels, these green stone could be reacting with water and making hydrogen. But regarding your question about reservoir rocks, so we have sandstones there. So these are acting as reservoirs. There are many layers of sands, and also there are carbonates, uh, especially carbonates with wax. So they are considered to be excellent reservoir for hydrogen there.
okay, because I was just thinking, I just get excited with the topic, and I'm thinking while you are telling me, I thought that hydrogen is smaller molecules in comparison to carbon. So I thought it will need a different type of rock because it needs like a smaller porosity, a smaller permeability because it might escape. But yeah, so if you can tell me what is the differences in reservoir between hydrocarbon system and or and hydrogen system, like what things to be considered more uh, in a hydrogen system?
Well, people did some calculations about um, how much thickness of hydrogen we need before it escapes from the cap rock. So the calculation shows that the pressure is very similar to what we get from hydrocarbons. So in um, in terms of seal rocks, still we don't find something very peculiar about hydrogen, except if we think a process of diffusion from which molecule by molecule it just disperses through the cap rock. So otherwise, if it is making accumulative head like hydrocarbon, then there is a possibility of good accumulation and similar thickness like hydrocarbon.
Okay, in
So
terms
yeah.
of porosity and permeability, like for example, a good range for porosity and permeability in oil and gas in a specific reservoir type, is it the same for the hydrogen or how it goes?
That's right. I mean, you can you can think some differences in terms of relative permeability of hydrogen with water. Otherwise, if there is good porosity and permeability, that's good for hydrogen reservoir also. So
Okay,
it's kind of similarity with the hydrocarbon.
okay, yeah. So, any final thoughts to sum up the episode?
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting topic, and the young people should I mean, they find it fascinating if they start working in for a hydrogen system. And there are many things we don't know, so there is lots to explore actually. For example, I mentioned about the mode of migration, the mode of accumulation, and how hydrogen will react with or interact with cap rocks. So there are still we need to know. So there's a there is a potential of lots of research for that. So that's my final thought, I think.
Yeah, I guess that's really a lot of questions. Look promising. I think everything on the start is look like strange and anybody doubted, but even like oil and gas, I think at some point it was just like hydrogen and people like dreaming of having such great discoveries that we have it today. So yeah, let's hope this will be reality, and it's a calling from here to explore more on hydrogen exploration, natural hydrogen exploration. Yeah. So thank you everybody for being with us, and thank you, Dr. Manzer, for this nice episode. It was really incredible and enjoyed personally. So I hope all the audience will get more of it. And with that, I will end it now. So bye. Thank you again.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me. Yeah, bye bye.
Bye.